Hey, what's up, guys? Tuki here, back again. This is Rebuilding Hockey Town, and let's get right down to business. The last episode ended on a pretty familiar note at this rate, where, once again, we have too many players and not enough spots. We have some incredible talent in this organization, but we need to make a decision. And after, looking at your feedback, looking at the lineup, looking at what makes sense, I have come to a decision. And I think forward-wise, you're looking at what the lineup is going to be. We still have our top line, Taylor Hall, Nico Hischier, and Owen Tippett. Owen Tippett's still on a great deal. Hischier's on the last year of his deal. And Taylor Hall, yes, $9 million per season. The good thing is, if we have to get rid of him next year, Svechnikov or Vic Marsh should be ready to go. They make up the second line currently with Jonathan Dahlen. All three of them legitimate second line forwards. The third line, we have Adam Ruzicka, who is looking like a pretty solid player at this point, a third line guy, with Kailer Yamamoto and Cole Lind, who is listed as a second line forward. I want to hold on to him because of that defensive rating. He could be a great player for the PK unit. So we're going to see if he is all right with being on the third line, but also having power play time. He's still on a good contract this year. If his morale starts to decline, he's out the door, simply put. And the good thing is, if we were to get rid of him, we already have his replacement down in Grand Rapids, and we'll get to that in a minute. The fourth line, Eli Tolvanen. He's a monster. He was a beast. We acquired him last season, and I wasn't all that impressed. And you could say, well, okay, you're keeping him, but you have him on the fourth line, so you got to have lower expectations. And I do. Heading into this year, I don't expect him to put up the numbers that he put up in the previous two seasons, but he could still be a useful piece for us. And there's always been that debate. Should the fourth line be a more defensive setup, right? And we could easily do that. We could go out and get really good, grindy-ish like players. Physical players that have a defensive side. That would have been a much better way to phrase it. And we could do that. We could absolutely do that. We do have one of those type of players in Benoit Giroux. And again, he's going to get penalty kill time, I should say, to hopefully make up for the fact that he's on a line lower than what he should be. And then we still have Robert Thomas as well. He is a fourth line guy. So we're not missing out on too much there. You'll notice who's missing. Dylan Larkin has to go. There's just simply no way he can stay. The only way he stays is if we drop Jonathan Dahlen down to the third line, which we could. We could easily drop Jonathan Dahlen down to the third line and just give him power play time and hope that he's all right with that. Or we can go out and use Dylan Larkin, who has nearly max trade value, to pull off a blockbuster deal, and that's what it's looking like we're going to do in this episode. Now, if I were to keep Dylan Larkin, more than likely it would be Ruzicka that gets dropped. Kailer Yamamoto would more than likely stay at center. It'd be something like that. Instead of Tolvanen, it would be Dylan Larkin. That lineup would be absurd. Absolutely absurd. But I think when I bring up what I plan on doing here, that you guys will agree it's probably the right choice. Of course, our defense right now, that's not what it's going to be. I'll just say that. And the goaltending, we're going to give Ian Scott the chance. We will give Ian Scott the chance. The backup plan is more than likely Thatcher Demko. I think I haven't used him in a year in a franchise mode series since the Vancouver series on NHL 16. I haven't used him in any series this year, so that would be the plan. But with Dylan Larkin, he's a massive reason as to why we won the Cup. His efforts in the playoffs, 14 points in 23 games en route to the Stanley Cup. But you look at the regular season, a career high of 61 points, which isn't terrible, but is Jonathan Dahlen more than capable of that on the second line? Absolutely. And what I mentioned by having guys ready to go down in the AHL level, we do have Tommy Hagman and Stuart Pasquale, who are both depth forwards despite being 85 overall. So I'm willing. I don't know if it's necessarily sacrificing their development by having them down to the AHL level since their depth forwards. They're going to tear that league apart. But they are there and ready if someone like Cole Lind doesn't prefer to be on the third line. So, what do we do about Dylan Larkin? Even though now that I mention it, before I started recording this episode, I'm like, yes, Dylan Larkin's going. And then I just thought to myself, oh, well, we could get rid of Eli Tolvanen and keep Dylan Larkin. The plan, I mean, this team is ridiculous, right? And you see Cole Lind's trade value. That's why I don't get rid of him. Yes, he's a two-way forward through and through, so he's going to be a Dylan Larkin type, but I'm not against having that on the team. Oh, but the plan. What is the plan? There are two players that I was looking at, both of whom are still on their original teams that could really help this team out. The first is Erik Karlsson, who I also haven't used in a series, not even the Nation United series, since the Vancouver. I believe the Vancouver series was the last time I used Erik Karlsson. 2 years left, 8.8 mil, right? So that's a pretty hefty number. The other guy, though, could give us exactly what we need, a bit more of a defensive presence while still having 98 passing, and he has a much, much cheaper contract. That would be the 94 overall Aaron Ekblad. And he's our target. And it's funny because they signed Darnell Nurse, so they have a hell of a defense. I think he's our target. Now, to be honest, I do wonder if I'm going to be able to keep Dylan Larkin and still get Aaron Ekblad. And to be honest, I'm going to try. I think that is now my set plan. So am I sitting here kicking myself like, oh man, you should totally just restart this episode and have it all planned out? Yeah, I am kind of kicking myself like that. But you know what? That's okay. It's all right. And we'll figure this out. Worst comes to worst, we get rid of Dylan Larkin and we pick up Aaron Ekblad. But Aaron Ekblad is the target. So what my plan is now is to move a couple of players. Of course, we still have to figure out some things at the AHL level. We'll get some more draft picks, then see if we can acquire Ekblad. And the goal is still to sim at least the first month of the season in this episode. We'll see if that happens. Now, unfortunately, there isn't going to be room for Henry Jokiharju. He is going to have to be moved out. Not a bad player, but with what I have... Okay, so with Ekblad, the plan is him and Hronik, Haig, Dahlin, and then we're going to try to keep Liljegren and Hughes, and we're going to hope that that works. Of course, we'll give them special teams time, but they're going to be the third pairing. We'll see if that works. Sariarvi is going to go, unfortunately, but Sariarvi is going to go. Jokiharju is on his way out. Evan Bouchard might stay. And again, I should have figured this out, and I apologize for that. But you know what? Shit happens, right? Shit happens. So we got Wisniewski. We also have Frolov, who is minor league top 2. Oh my god. So actually, just in saying that, I think Bouchard has to go. I don't think... I mean, he might still make the team. He might. I mean, it has to be... I mean, Frolov, though, in fairness, low top 4, he is turning into a hell of a player. Hell of an offensive defenseman. Already 88 offensive awareness. But one of Bouchard or Frolov has to go. I'm not sure who that's going to be yet. Joey Wisniewski is here. He is going to be a part of this team. And actually, in saying that, Sylvan also has to be on the top 2, which means Bouchard and Frolov are both gone. That's what that means. That is what that means. I might as well go with the younger option in Wisniewski. So, absolutely, Bouchard and Frolov are on their way out. Am I writing things down? Absolutely. It's good to keep a depth chart handy. It absolutely is. So we got Emelin on the, or Yamelin on the other pairing. We have Sylvan on the top 2. Let's see, Lance Delmas still available to us. Brent Perron, also still available to us. My God, the amount of depth we have on this team is ridiculous. Ekblad can be a depth guy. That's fine. Svensson can be a depth guy, as they both were last year. That's fine. As well as, so let's see, we have Bader and DeRozier. Now, DeRozier is an elite level player. So that's kind of an issue. That's kind of an issue, and we might want him in the lineup. But you know what? First things first. Sorry, Arvi. Yoki Harju, Bouchard, and Frolov need to go. So let's get those deals done so that we can actually accomplish something in this episode. I didn't plan on the first 10 minutes or so being, hey, this is what we're going to do. I thought I had it all figured out. Turns out I didn't, and I should have taken more time before starting the episode. But that's okay. That's okay. That's what I like about this, is just when I think I have my mind made up, something happens, and that turned out to not be the case. Now, Frolov, because of his potential, is absolutely going to go. Wisniewski, though, with his trade value being that low, is a little bit concerning. It is a little bit concerning. Huh. Then you got Bouchard, Yoki Harju, and Arvi, all kind of in the same spot. Right. Okay, well, we're going to have to figure this out. Let's look to... Yeah, we can send Frolov to... Oh, actually, we don't want to send him to Boston. That is a division rival. After all, how about the Calgary Flames? Wait, were they at 50 out of 50? No, they weren't. It's just that they're over the cap at the moment. But hopefully that won't matter. He's down at the AHL level. Dougie Hamilton is actually a legitimate top 2 defenseman in this sim, which is pretty crazy. Will that go through? No, it won't. Apparently it's not even close. I think the second would go through. We are going to pick Horde a little bit from Calgary, but that's okay. That's okay. Will this go through? Apparently we're not even close. Will the second straight up? Really? The second straight up didn't go through. All right. Well, how about Calgary? We really help you out here. How does that sound? Bouchard, Yoki Harju, and Arvi. You can afford to take on all of them. And you might be saying to yourself, just get Dougie Hamilton. And trust me, I was tempted. But we won't do that for now. We won't do that. Well, we won't do that at all. What I do want to accomplish here is to get some draft picks from the Calgary Flames. They're a good team, as it is, so they might not end up being the best picks overall. And actually, now that I think about it, we might be able to get 3 firsts out of this. That might be a stretch, right? That might be a stretch, but I'm willing to try. I am willing to try and fail rather than not try at all. Let's see here. Yeah, that's going to go through. We're going to be able to get 3 first-round picks from the Calgary Flames as we just send them all of our defensemen. Will that still go through? No, it won't. But we have to still be close. How about another third? Will that go through? No, just the second? All right, so we can't... Well, actually, we could still get the second if we just tack something on here, which is pretty good. How about a fifth? Is that good enough? Yes, it is. We're about to pull off a blockbuster with the Calgary Flames. Frolov, Bouchard, Yoki Harju, and Arvi to Calgary, along with a fifth, for 3 first-round picks and a second. Holy hell. Now, of course, they also have the champion tag, so they might not be the best first-round picks, but still, we'll be able to make the most of them. Really, not even a trio, a quartet of amazing defensemen off to Calgary. But it had to be done. It had to be done. So let's figure out. And those firsts, again, could come in handy, and that was the plan. They could really come into use. They could be very, very helpful in acquiring Aaron Ekblad without having to use Dylan Larkin. That is still a possibility that's on the table here. So, defensively, at the AHL level, man, I should have figured this out beforehand. I do apologize. So again, we have Wisniewski. He will be on the top pairing with Sylvan. That is a lock. From there, we have Emlyn, with on the second pairing, I should say. We have Delmas right, who could be on the third pairing. We have Perron. All right. Helmerson, who has to be in with that elite potential. What a pick. What a pickup he was. And then from there, again, we have Ekblad. We have Svensson. And, wow, okay, Bader. I forgot all about Bader. Nice. And DeRozier's. Okay. So, with that, it's likely that Delmas and Bader are on their way out. I think those are the last two that are going to go. We'll have Svensson and Ekblad as our depth at the AHL level. Case of injury there. But I think, yeah, it's Delmas and Bader on their way out. Hopefully the game doesn't sign anybody for me at the AHL level. I'm a little bit afraid of that, actually. And that would only happen because of our lack of forwards at the AHL level. We do have a couple of guys there, but I really don't want the game to sign anybody for me. But again, let me just double check here the values. Now Ekblad and Svensson aren't really worth anything, but all of the guys I'm talking about moving have the top 6 potential, right? And Delmas isn't bad, but we want DeRozier's to be the third pairing defenseman on the left-hand side. So then Bader, yeah, we can get rid of Bader too. And we'll be good to go. And of course, we can't sign the enforcer that we drafted because he's a CHL guy. But we get rid of Delmas, we get rid of Bader, and that defense is set. And nothing will stop us from going after Aaron Ekblad next. Let's go talk to the Winnipeg Jets. Let's go talk to the Winnipeg Jets. And actually, it might be better to try and find a forward here. It might be better to see if any of these teams have a decent depth forward that we could send down to the AHL level. So let's take a look for the hell of it. Of course, there is that guy on the Bruins, Simpson, who we've looked at quite a few times, but haven't approached yet. He is somebody we could pick up in the future. The Leafs are looking to trade this guy, Marshall Stewart. High top 9, 21 years old, 75 overall. And you know what? Since they want to trade him, he fits what we're looking for too. So that's good. That's good. We'll pick up Marshall Stewart. Sounds fine to me. I guess they're looking to be contenders now, and after seeing Austin Matthews' value, I'm not all that surprised. That didn't go through. How about a 1 or 2 for 1? Still no. Okay. Okay. Well, I guess I was a little bit too hopeful considering they wanted to trade him. Will that go through? No. Damn it. I am going to have to give up a third here. We'll give up the Tampa Bay third. That should go through, hopefully. Yes, it would. And do I want to pick? Yeah, I do. Screw it. Screw it. I do want to pick for it a little bit on the back end to get as much value out of this deal as we can. That completely failed. Screw it. We pick up Marshall Stewart for Delmas and Bader. That's looking good. Let's go see. Shit. It did sign one guy for me. It did sign one player for me, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. The time has come, though. Can we manage to trade for somebody with a full trade bar, a full trade value bar in Aaron Ekblad without giving up Dylan Larkin? That is the key. Now, because I'm going to try to pull this off without trading Larkin, it would be Eli Tolvanen that we try to use here. It would be Tolvanen that we try to use. That would knock Ruzicka down to the fourth line. So, yep, Tolvanen has to go. I mean, for Tolvanen, it's either you're on the fourth line or you're not on the team at all, right? So let's see if we can make this work. I doubt it, right? I doubt it. Tolvanen will still probably be on the team. But let's see what happens here. 2 firsts isn't going to be enough. Absolutely not. Will 3 first-round picks be enough? No, it won't. And apparently we're not even close, so that's good. How about 4 first-round picks? Is that enough to get Aaron Ekblad? No, it's not. Let's take Tolvanen out of the deal. Let's try for 5 first-round picks. 5 first-rounders for Aaron Ekblad. If this doesn't go through, we have to use Dylan Larkin. And indeed, we have to use Dylan Larkin. So, well, I feel like our defense would still potentially be good enough. We do need... well then again, is our defense good enough? Is our defense good enough with the top 6 that we have? Although we did just trade Sorry Arby. Yeah, we already traded Sorry Arby. Alright, sorry Larkin, you're out. Damn it, you're finally out. I was partially hoping to get through this series without actually having to trade Dylan Larkin, but unfortunately that's not going to happen. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen. Now, I might not have to give up too much here, all things considered. I want to see if I could actually... Wow, Larkin, that's right, he just signed the 8-year deal too. That's right, I forgot. We signed him to that ridiculous contract. Can I get away with making this deal using only second-round picks? Yes, I can. It's already close. All right, well, I'm good with this, man. I'm good with this. Dylan Larkin, you helped win us a cup, but that's pretty much all you've done. That is pretty much all you've done. Will a 4th-round pick be enough to push this over the edge? I think it will be. No, it won't. Okay. All right, you proved me wrong, Florida. You proved me wrong. 3rd-round pick next year. Will that do the job? Yes, it will. Dylan Larkin and a handful of picks off to the Florida Panthers in exchange for Aaron Ekblad. Obviously, some players are upset with the move, but hey, we have to do what we have to do. This team is looking to be ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So the last thing we have to do before we set up the lines is sign some players to the AHL level. But aside from that, we'll be good to go. So we have Hall, Hischier, and Tippett. The second line, and unfortunately Vic Marsh is one of the players that has to take a bit of a drop, but that's okay. That's okay. And then we have Ruzicka, Guru, and Lind. Actually, do we want Ruzicka to drop? Ruzicka or Yamamoto? I forgot who was on the 4th. I forgot who was down there. So we'll have, we'll go with Ruzicka, I suppose. Him, Guru, and Lind, Tolvanen, Yamamoto, and Thomas. Defensively, it is Hronek and Ekblad, Dahlin and Haig, Hughes and Liljegren. And again, I will set up the power play lines and the PK lines on my own in a minute. For now, Tuukka Jokinen is not ours. But for now, we need to sign. And whether or not we want Magnus Lilja in the lineup is another question. I actually got rid of one too many defensemen. I actually could have held on to Delmas, apparently. Could I have? Wait a second. What's wrong here? What's wrong? Unless DeRozier's a CHL guy. Whoops. See, that type of mistake can happen. That type of mistake can happen when you record in between episodes. So DeRozier's a CHL guy. So we're going to have to bring in one more guy for the AHL level, which is fine. We can bring in one more guy for the AHL level. I could go out and sign another really good prospect, or just, I'm probably going to. All right. Because those picks are just so unreliable anyway. Hold on. Let me go check free agency. Here. I didn't expect this episode to turn out this way, but you know what? It did. So that's that. That's all that I can say. So defensively, we need to find somebody who's all right with being minor league top 4. Anthony Bitetto is one of those guys and would provide a bit of an interesting look to the team. Although we'd probably want Helmerson in that spot. So Josh Brown, who's a real physical player, Robin Norrell, Dylan McElrath, who, of course, was on this team in the first season, but he'd want minor league top 2. So we could go with Brown, or we could go with Robin Norrell. Interesting. The real physical option, do we go with Norrell? I'm not sure. Or do we just trade for somebody? That's the question. That is the question, because as you saw, of course, with the Larkin trade, we managed to hold on to those picks. Let's go see. Fuck it. Let's go shopping. Is there anybody, because of the mistake I made with DeRozier on defense, is there anybody that would like to be on the Grand Rapids Griffins, the most dominant AHL team of the past however many years this sim's been going on? By the way, I was looking at Cal Foot, but I found Aaron Ekblad and realized it would be possible. So we went with him instead. Feel like that was the right call. Just going to throw that out there. I feel like that was the right call. The unfortunate thing for us right now is it turns out most of the top prospects in the game we already have on our team at the moment. There is this guy, Devin Wilkinson, Canadian though, so no thank you. He'd be down at the CHL level. Anybody at all here? Valimaki, Alexi Sorela. It's not looking too good. It's not looking too good. Again, I'm looking for players at the AHL level, lower overall, that wouldn't mind playing in the AHL, of course. We don't need like another 85 overall guy. Fortunately, we haven't really been able to find anybody so far. So, yeah. There's this guy here, Maroon. Dylan Maroon, but he's not Canadian, but he's only a 60. He's not Canadian, but he's only a 60. But you know what? Medium top 6? Huh. I mean, he wouldn't be... you know what? I mean, we can afford to pick him up. We can definitely afford to pick him up. But, do I really want to give up a draft pick for that? Not really. Not really. You know what? Screw it. Let's just go sign free agents. The first round picks that we have, guess what? More than likely we'll use to trade up and get the number 1 overall pick again, because there's nothing else that we can really do with them, right? So, we need to bring in, it was Brown or Norrell. And defensive D-man Brown or the two-way defender Norrell. Let's bring in Brown. We'll have him down at the AHL level for a year. And then forwards, we needed to sign a couple of guys here. We could bring back Antoine Waked, who was pretty solid for us last year. Ended up being an 84. And he will sign a two-way deal. Yeah, you know what? Let's bring him back. Why not? We can afford to do so. We have Ein, who ended up being an 82. Noah Rod. And Bunting as well. Michael Bunting. Well, let's bring back Ein for a year. Bring him back for a year. We'll bring back Noah Rod for a year as well. Good luck getting a 3-year deal, buddy. Good luck with that. And because of the cap space, I'm going to sign Patrice Bergeron to a max level deal. Or not a max level deal. That's cutting it a bit too close. But we're going to give Bergie a hell of a payday because he deserves it. And I refuse to see him sit there on the free agent list with nothing to do. There we go. We should be good. We're about a half an hour into this episode, damn it. But part of you should have known that the episode was going to turn out this way. I think part of you should have known. I thought we would have simmed halfway to the All-Star break, if not to the All-Star break by now. But as is typical with my series, that didn't happen. But that's okay. We will still sim a month into the year, though, because it won't take too long. So, let's get these lines set, and then, of course, someone will get injured in the very first game of the season. Bergeron. Do we want Lilia? Ackerstrom? Like, Ackerstrom and McMuffin can be... I still can't believe we have a guy named McMuffin. That's ridiculous. They can sit, and Tuukka Jokinen wasn't ours. So the question is, do I want Lilia in the lineup at a 60 overall, right? Ekblad and Svensson are the defensive scratches, which is fine. I mean, you look at the defense here, I would rather have Brown in the lineup. We'll have Helmerson up top. I should have signed the lefty, I think, but that's okay. So I'll have Perron on the left, Helmerson with Yamelin, and then Sylvan with Wisniewski. So that top pairing is looking ridiculous. And then, do I want the 60 overall in there rather than Sheldon goalie? And I'm going to say yes. Now, I could take Bergeron out of the lineup. That way goalie could continue to get better. But I'm not all that concerned about it. So we'll have Marshall Stewart with Patrice Bergeron and Magnus Lilia as the fourth line. The top line will be... Pascal is a 72. We might as well have Pettersson play center. Let's see, not that I care too much about the lefty-righty dynamic, but it does kind of help. So Donaghy's elite. Chow is medium top 9. Who's better offensively? It looks like Noah Rod is. Although we could have Kelly Chow. Could have Kelly Chow on the second line. We'll do that. Let's do that. This got completely screwed, but that's okay. Who's a better face-off man between the two? That would be Rod. And there we go. Team set. Hagman, Pettersson, Pascale, Chow, Donaghy, David, Ein, Rod, and Waked, Stewart, Bergeron, and Lilia. Looking good. Looking good. Power play units and all that I don't have to really worry about. I do have to worry about it, though, at the NHL level. So, for sure, we need Taylor Yamamoto on the PK to give him a bit of a bump. We also need Cole Lind. And who else is playing out of their role? Nobody. Okay. So that's good. So we just have to make sure that they have the PK time. We should also have Guru on the PK. And, yeah, we could go with Thomas as well. That's fine. That's fine. And then, of course, the power play. What the hell was that? That turned out to be a remote. It turned out to be a remote to the old television. So, power play units, power play lines, we have Hall, Nico, and Tippett, of course, as the top threat. Second line, surprise, surprise, will be Svechnikov, Dahlin, and Marsh. Actually, how good is Marsh offensively? Pretty good. You know what? To be honest, we could have Tolvanen on that top unit. We could have Tolvanen there. That's the question. We'll go with Marsh for now, and then if that unit struggles, we could give Tolvanen a chance. And then power play defense, we of course need to have Hughes and Liljegren. They have to be there. They have to be on that top unit. And Haig, Dahlin, Ekblad, and Hronik. All right, let's look at this team. So, we have Tippett, Hischier, Hall, which is good. We need to... Actually, we're not even going to have Aaron Ekblad in our power play unit from the looks of it. Rasmus Dahlin, 90 passing, 81 offensive awareness. What's Ekblad at? 88. Okay, never mind. Ekblad will stay. Ekblad will stay. So we'll take Rasmus Dahlin off the power play unit for Liljegren. He'll be there with Quentin Hughes, and then the second pairing will be Ekblad and Hronik. It does put Tolvanen up there, as well as Adam Ruzicka, who has 91 passing, 90 offensive awareness. Damn. That's fantastic. And then, of course, Jonathan Dahlin's also top-notch. You know what? I'll keep it the way it's suggesting. I will keep it the way that it is suggesting. And we'll go with that setup. Yep, we'll go with that setup right there. And we'll give it a chance. That's fine. We can afford to take a couple of risks. Now, we could have Ruzicka. He is a face-off guy, after all. He could be with Taylor Hall. That's fine. Then we need Quentin Hughes to be on the top pairing. I should have done this all off-camera, but that's fine. Or off-screen, at least. Call it off-screen, call it off-camera. Call it what you will. Call it what you will. Should have done this all, but that's okay. So the PK unit, it does have Guru and Lind. It also has Thomas and Yamamoto. Go figure. We just have to swap those two around. We have Dahlin, Ekblad, Hronik, and Haig. Now, that's fine as well. I'm actually going to put Haig up on the top. And actually, there we go. We'll have Haig and Dahlin. So that looks good. PK-wise, Guru and Yamamoto. All right. I think we're good. Fellas, we are good. Let's do this. Let's start this year. The big question is, will people complain about ice time, or will they just sit down, shut up, know their role as a potential future presidential candidate, Which, my God, wouldn't that be hilarious if The Rock actually ran for the presidency of the United States of America? Because, you've had, obviously with Trump at the moment, that's as political as I'm going to get. But then, you had Kanye sitting there saying that he's going to run. You got The Rock. Man, politics are fun, aren't they? But yes, hopefully these players do in fact know their role. And we can win a cup this year. Because people just keep their mouths shut and sacrifice for the benefit of the team. That is the hope. Will it happen as I plan and, fingers crossed, hope for? Will it happen that way? Absolutely not. Someone will ruin all of the work that I did in this episode with the trades and the moves that we had to make. Seems like forever ago that we traded Sarriarbi, Yoki Harju, Bouchard, and Frolov, doesn't it? Seems like that happened a long time ago. And in a way it did. That was 15, 20 minutes ago. Damn. But let's see how we can do in the opening month of this new season. A huge game coming up against the Lightning. We lost to them in the preseason. Can we beat Tampa? Please. Yes, we can. 2-1 victory. Beautiful. Avenging that preseason loss. Noah Rod goes down to injury in Grand Rapids, and I will take care of this myself. Lilia, already up to a 61, so that's good. The better he progresses, the better I will feel about it. Do we want to put goalie in? Can he play center at all? Yeah, he kind of can, so that's fine. We'll put goalie in. Good old Sheldon goalie. And, yeah, that's looking all right. We'll just make I in the center, and we'll get right back to the sim here. Do I have auto-rotate goalies on? No, I don't. But that's okay. That's okay. We'll be fine. We want Ian Scott to get the majority of the games anyway. Auto-rotate, which I have admitted, does work, as it always should have, as there's the injury. He's only out for about a week, but still, there's the injury. But, yeah, auto-rotate goalies does work as it should. But I don't care about a very fair split. I want Ian Scott to play 65-plus games this year. Absolutely. So Dahlin goes down to injury. So to solve this, we are going to keep the power play lines the same, with Pascale just filling in for his spot. But what I'm going to do here is move Marsh over. Let's put Lind there, and then bump up Kaylor Yamamoto. And then that way everyone's playing in the player role that they should be. And we'll keep it with that for now. And actually, while I'm already here, Brossois who's gone up to an 86 apparently, will get to play. Now, as far as the replacement for Pascale, it might be McMuffin. Nope, it's going to be Ackerstrom. Sorry, McMuffin. Sorry, buddy. You're going to have to wait. Let's put Lilia up on the third pair. Actually, no, you know what? I want to keep him with Bergeron. I really want to keep him with Patrice Bergeron. Maybe he can teach him a thing or two. But here we go. Laurent Brossois' first game for us. It's against the Habs. It's another win. Fantastic. And we'll sim to this game against the Sens. The last game of this episode. Beforehand, though, we are going to have to make some line changes. The good thing is, though, we're up to 92 locker room chemistry despite the trades that we made. That is a very good sign for us right now. Absolutely. Dahlin is not fully healthy, but that's fine. We had to put Ian Scott back in. So Dahlin should return in the next episode. I know it said he'd be fully healthy on November 1st. A lot of times, players will come back before then, though. So he may return. Well, actually, regardless, he'll be back for that game against the San Jose Sharks. Let's sim to November 1st. It's going to be a loss, isn't it? No, it's not. We finish the opening month of the season with a perfect 9-0 record. That's not going to last, but that's pretty damn impressive. What's even more impressive, though, is you notice the Bruins. They're on 15 points. Montreal doing really well to start the season as well. So, we're only 9 games in, obviously. We're only 9 games in, but that is a very, very strong start for this team. You look at the top line. Taylor Hall has 8 points in 9 games. Nico Hischier has 8 points all assists. He's also up to a 91. Owen Tippett on 10 points already. What a beast he is. Svechnikov with 5 points, 4 for Vic Marsh, and 8 for Cole Lind. Not too shabby, and he never complained about ice time early on in the year. Ruzicka, 10 points as well, 4 for Benoit Giroux. Only 1 point for Kale Yamamoto. Pretty disappointing as an 87 overall. Yes, he was on the 4th line for most of the season, and it is still early, but still. Eli Tolvanen on 6 points, 2 goals for Stuart Pascale, and the 3 helpers from Robert Thomas. How did Dahlin do before he was injured? He had 3 points. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. Let's take a look at the defense. The top line, 9 points for Hronek, 2 for Aaron Ekblad. And while he does have the potential to be dominant offensively, it's mainly the fact that he's just an all-around great player. Great skater, physical player, 90 defensive awareness with the 94 stick checking, a wrist shot that Ovechkin would nearly be jealous of. Like, he is a monster. Nick Hague has 5 points with +8 rating. Only 1 goal for Rasmus Dahlin so far, but he's a +9. And then the third pairing, the real interesting one, Quentin Hughes with 2 goals, 2 helpers for Liljegren, and so far so good in the morale spectrum, I should say. Well, I think that's what I was going for. Ian Scott's up to an 88. He has a .945 save percentage, 8-0. That's what I like to see. And Brossoit, in fairness, with a .937 save percentage in his 1 game played thus far. And just taking a look at the AHL level, a couple of our guys doing okay. Things are looking good for the Red Wings, is what I am trying to say. And in the next episode, we'll make quite a bit of progress. If I decide to make trade deadline moves, we could go up to that point, or we could very well sim the rest of this season. Time will tell, and it really all depends on how our team does. And again, mainly what happens with the players that we are playing out of their role. Will Cole Lind start to complain about being on the 3rd line once Jonathan Dahlin's back? That's going to be the main thing that could disrupt this team. Otherwise, on paper, we should dominate the league, and we have done just that so far. Again, it won't continue to this level, but a good start after a rough end to the prior season. Guys, that will do it. I hope you did enjoy this episode of Rebuilding Hockeytown. Of course, if you did, make sure to hit that like button to help support the channel. It is greatly appreciated. Subscribe if you haven't already to continue following this series and others. Follow me on Twitter at Tukey24 and join the notification squad. Do all that, and I'll see you guys again probably tomorrow with another episode of Rebuilding Hockeytown.